We are floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you two badass jet pilots, rumble. Welcome to the Wingmen Show, where we're floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you two badass jet pilots, rumble. Welcome to the Wingmen Show. My name is Commander Drew Brown. My wingman, my friend, the guy who watches my six, is my main man, Dr. Paul Thompson. What's up, brother Paul?
Well, Commander Drew, it's good to see you this morning. Looks like you've got stormy skies behind you. I see lightning. It's raining over here too. So you got AI meeting reality.
Very good, Paul. You know how that AI works. Well, let's start off this puppy with the quote of the day. I like this one. Friendships born on the field of athletic strife are the real gold of competition. Awards become corroded. Friends gather no dust. One more time. Friendships born on the field of athletic strife are the real gold of competition. Awards become corroded. Friends gather no dust. And that's by my main man, Jesse Owens. And I said something about Jesse Owens I love, Paul. I say two black men and a Jew beat Hitler. Jesse Owens showed Hitler that they were not the fastest. Joe Louis showed him they weren't the strongest. And Albert Einstein showed him they weren't the smartest. Thank God for Jesse Owens. What do you think about that, Paul?
Yeah, that is a favorite quote of yours. And for those who don't know, Jesse Owens was an Olympic champion back in the 30s, really before that, but was super, super fast and won the Olympics. And I forget which one it was, but the Olympics held in Munich. And Adolf Hitler was not very pleased as he was in attendance there. A lot of old crazy theories are broken down all the time, and to this day, people still have a problem dealing with certain realities.
Well, the truth is, Hitler spit at Jesse Owens when he won the gold, actually. So it was real. It was good versus evil, and good won again. All right, everybody, let's check out this bad ass title we have here: Lasers versus Drones, the next air threat. Hey, Doc, have you ever seen the movie Angels Have Fallen? Because it is one badass movie. I'm talking about action galore. But when I was flying, if something came at you in the sky, it was usually big, loud, and very expensive. Now, your worst nightmare might be a $500 drone with a bad attitude and bad intentions. What do you think about that, Paul?
Yeah, that's right, Commander Drew. We've gone from dogfights with jets to dogfights with what looks like something your neighbor bought online, except this one's packing explosives and flying in big swarms. There can be lots of them. So you got drone dominance, is a new air threat. And also, yes, I did see that movie with Gerard Butler. It was a good movie. Good movie.
Good movie and a lot of drones in that scene. Well, people need to understand this, Paul. You don't have to control the sky anymore with big airplanes. You can now control it with small, cheap, disposable drones. That's just keep coming. One jet is dangerous, but golly, a swarm of 1,000 drones, that's terrifying, Paul. That can really happen.
Yeah, and that's why everybody's talking about lasers. Lasers really to shoot down the drones because they can shoot down the drones. Got to make sure you shoot down the right drones. There have been accidents, but these are not like sci-fi lasers. These are real systems that are being tested now, and some are very effective. So the reason, well, it's because any any ship or battle group, they may be facing a cloud of cheap drones with explosives, but you really can't afford shooting $1 million missiles for drones that may cost maybe a couple $100. So you need something that's fast and accurate and reusable. And laser energy is pretty much reusable once you power it up, and it's a lot cheaper than throwing $1 million missile out there. Understand?
Exactly, and those lasers only have to cool down. When you throw $1 million missile at there, it's like throwing a gold bar at a mosquito. A laser is more like a bug zapper. Track, aim, zap, move to the next one. No reloading, just power and cooling. It's completely different way of thinking about defense. Because I'll tell you something, Paul, you put 1,000 drones in the air, you have some trouble unless these lasers start working. Don't you think?
Yeah, I do. And, something that a lot of people miss, we're not just talking about a battlefield, it can be anywhere. So if you can threaten a base or a ship or a city or uh, amusement or whatever, then how do you protect airports and infrastructure and public events, concerts and games? So, the air defense isn't over there anymore in a foreign land. It can be everywhere. Got to be careful.
You sure do, Paul. So, Wingman, listen close. Technology is changing the fight faster than most people can even keep up. The side that wins now is not just the ones with the biggest hardware, the biggest equipment, and the biggest military might, but the one that adapts the fastest. They figure out the new threats and they build new answers. You're an engineer, Dr. Paul. You know that, don't you?
Yeah. So, people will say, what's the lesson in all this? What's the life lesson? Lasers versus drones. Well, simple. The drones in your life, you got drones in your life, and those can be like little small problems, little annoying things that show up in swarms. A little bad habit, a small lie, a little distraction. One by itself doesn't look dangerous, but together they can overwhelm you, just like airplane accidents. It's typically not one thing. It's maybe a number of small things that come together and make a bad situation. You remember that, Commander Drew.
Yes, and now laser is your focus and discipline. Instead of firing off big, dramatic, screaming responses and going crazy at every crisis, you build a system. You clear your priorities, have daily routines, and you make very strong boundaries. You track the threat, you zap it early, and you move on. No drama, just discipline. That's the way you should handle your problems, Paul.
Yeah. So, if you ignore the swarm, it may win. And if you panic, you waste energy, you're not effective. But if you can calmly lock on to your target, take out one target at a time, then you regain control of the sky, Commander Drew.
That's right. So, everybody out there, here's your wingman wisdom. The future belongs to people who see the new threat coming and become the new answer. Don't be scared of drones. Become the laser. Focus your mind, tighten your circle, and start zapping those problems before they ever reach your deck. You have the ability to do that. Well, we're ready for that good news. I hope you like that little video that our man Brandon made. He's great for Mystic Marketing. He's a great person to have on our team. So here's the good news. Dr. Paul, there's an 82-year-old ultra marathoner that has a fitness level of a 20-year-old. What sets him apart? Well, Doc, most people hit retirement and then they say, hey, it's time to slow down. But when Juan Lopez Garcia hit 66, he hung up his tools as a car mechanic in Spain. And then he said, you know what? I think I'll learn to suffer for fun. What do you think about that, Paul?
Yeah, that's right, Commander Drew. I read about him. And when he was 66 years old, he could barely run just a mile, 1 mile. But now at 82, he's not just jogging around the park. He's a world record holding ultra marathoner. He runs 31-mile races and he wins world marathon championships for his age group. That's tremendous.
That's amazing, Paul. You see, scientists look at him and they say, we've got to figure out what's going on under that hood. So they tested his VO2 max. And VO2 max is basically how much oxygen your body can take in and use. And you know what they found out? They found out that his numbers were the highest ever recorded for somebody over 80 years old. And that's the kind of engine you expect in a healthy guy in his 20s. Wow, is he really blessed, Paul?
Yeah, and it's not just, the air he takes in his lungs. It's the plumbing inside, it's everything. It's his muscles pulling a huge amount of oxygen out of the blood so he can just cruise at a steady pace for hours and hours. For an ultra marathoner, that's everything. It's like having a fuel line that never starves the engine. You've always got something to keep you going.
Yeah, I've never even heard of ultramarathoners, so this is amazing. You know, they also found his body burns fat for fuel at a very, very high rate. It intensifies where most people are still burning mostly sugar. That means he can go long distances without crashing. You add in a healthy weight, lots of lean muscle, and a high hemoglobin to carry all that oxygen, and you've got yourself an 82-year-old built like a much younger endurance athlete. This is really amazing, Paul.
Yeah, here's something I think is really great about him. He didn't start off as like a superhero, a Superman. He just wanted to run a little bit to maintain his health. So he trains with a coach. He runs about 40 miles every week and even more when he's actually getting ready for a race, for a competition. He mixes in sprints, some strength training, and a normal Mediterranean diet. Nothing exotic, just consistency. And the same kind of thing you talk about, Commander Drew.
And guess what? His researchers said his story proves something very powerful. Yes, aging is real, but VO2 max and muscles go down usually with time. But regular training, and even started later in life, is what I like, can slow that decline way down. In fact, keeping your exercise capacity high in older age, it actually helps preserve that VO2 max. And that number is a major predictor of how long and how well you live. I didn't know that. It's a very important number, Paul.
Yeah, and in the article also, Juan reflected on his grandparents. And he said, looking back at them, he said, at this age, they were like little old people. Today, I, meaning him, I don't feel old. So he's not pretending aging doesn't happen. He's just proving it doesn't have to look like a slow fade out of life.
You know, Dr. Paul, you and I talk about that all the time, that we don't act like old people, like when we were young, people our age. So, Wingman, check this out. He didn't start running until age 66, and now at 82, he's beating 20-year-olds. You see, you're not too old, it's not too late, and you are definitely not too far gone to start building a stronger engine. You don't have to do 40 miles a week. You just have to start where you are. One walk, one workout, one decision at a time, and then just keep showing up. The clock may be ticking, but the race isn't over unless you quit the course. You're in charge of your destiny, Paul.
Exactly.
Hey, Doc, guess what? I have some more good news for you, and it comes straight out of the Smoky Mountains in the heart of East Tennessee. Did you know the East Tennessee Children's Hospital in Knoxville has just changed its name? It's got a new name and a bigger mission. It is now the Dolly Parton Children's Hospital, and everybody loves Dolly Parton, Paul.
Yeah, most people who know Dolly Parton probably know her from the movie, and there's also a song that went with it, 9 to 5. It was a huge hit. I guess it came out in the '80s. But they also may know her for a Dollywood theme park. It's also in Tennessee. And she had a very, very big smile. But this movie is about something even bigger than that, bigger than a show business career. It's about giving kids a real shot at a healthy future. Dolly Parton said she believes every child deserves a fair chance to grow up healthy and hopeful and surrounded with love. And she's putting her name, her influence, and her resources behind that belief, Commander Drew.
Well, good, because this hospital has been caring for children since 1937 and has kept an open door policy. No child is ever turned away because of race, religion, or even the ability to pay. And now, with Dolly's support, the team there says this isn't just a name change, it's a generational collaboration that will transform pediatric care across East Tennessee and beyond. This is great. We love that state of Tennessee. We used to live there, Paul.
Yeah, we sure did. And here's something that's even better about her. Dolly Parton has already helped send millions of free books to children. We talked about that some time ago, but she's already done that. She's already helped fund vaccine research, and she's given scholarships in disaster relief. But she still says, "I can't do it all by myself. I'm going to need you." We all have to pitch in. So anyway, that's the wingman mindset. Use what you have where you are to help somebody else and invite others to join in the mission.
So I guess your message from Dolly Parton's Children's Hospital is this: you don't have to be famous to make a generational impact. Just say yes where you are. One child, one family, one act of generosity at a time, and you too can help turn your corner of the world into a place where every kid has a chance to grow up healthy, hopeful, and loved. Well, that's our jet jolt. I hope you like that new video. Hey, Doc, when a secret is serious, when the government looks at the first American jet and says, I better put a fake propeller on it, that's kind of crazy, don't you think, Paul?
Yeah, it is. Only in the military do you invent the future, then dress it up to look like the past. So, thinking about a brand new jet engine? Well, now let's slap some plywood on it so nobody notices.
Well, you know what we're talking about, huh, Paul? We're talking about the Bell P-59 Aerocomet. It's America's first jet. It's very top secret. It was very top secret. Actually, it was so secret that instead of hiding it, they rolled it right out on the ramp looking like a regular prop plane with a prop that didn't even do anything. It was just free spinning decoration. That was really wild, Paul.
Okay, imagine the conversation at the base. Two people are looking at the airplane, and someone says, that doesn't sound like a propeller airplane. And the other guy says, no, it doesn't. But the government wouldn't lie to us, so I guess it has to be a propeller airplane.
Yeah, the government definitely wouldn't lie to us, would it, Paul? See, this thing was stealth by pretending to be an actual prop plane, a plane with a propeller. They covered the jet intakes, then they hung that fake prop up front, amazing. And then they prayed anybody watching that had bad binoculars and a worst imagination would never be able to tell. How about that, Paul?
Yeah, some people know that P-59 jet was I guess that was the first jet for the American forces. This thing was developed in 1945 during World War II. It didn't work out too well. They came out with something called the P-80. That became the big jet, but they made a bunch of these B-59s, and, they kept them secret, and at some point, some poor crew chief had to sign for the prop. They had to check out the prop and disguise it so that enemy forces wouldn't know what they're really doing it. And they probably had to guard it like it was a nuclear weapon, Commander Drew.
They probably did. So now, the P-59 wasn't some dog-fighting legend either. It wasn't the LeBron James of jets. It was more like an awkward rookie season. Lots of learning, lots of let's not do that again, but absolutely necessary to build the future of training jet pilots, especially in the United States Navy, Paul.
Yeah. Like I said, it trained the first jet pilots. It didn't quite work out, but they used it for a while. I think they made like 59 of them, and they used them till they got something better, the P-80, they called it, and I'll show a picture of that. But, the British led the world the British actually started the first jet engines, and I think the British actually gave them a jet engine. But they taught engineers how to handle turbines, and it pushed America from piston airplane thinking to jet engine thinking, all the while pretending to be a prop airplane. That's like showing up to work in a flip phone case, but you've really got a smartphone inside.
Well, everybody, here's your jet jolt. The first American jet fighter was so advanced, it had to hide in plain sight as an old school propeller plane. Maybe people see you like that, just another old model. How about this? Let them. They don't see the jet engine inside. And when the time is right, drop the disguise, light those burners, and show them what you're really built to do. You have the ability to be anything you want. All right, everybody out there, thank you so, so much for supporting our show. Thank you for writing letters. And everybody out there, if you could please subscribe. Most people don't subscribe. You listen to our show, but you don't subscribe. Please subscribe. It means a lot to us. And thank you for watching us on YouTube and listening to us definitely on Apple Podcasts. Then watching our little TikTok and Instagram shorts. We really, really do appreciate it. And check out those badass jets we got behind us today. Dr. Paul has an F-35. That's the new jet on the carrier. And me, I just have a couple of jets from AI with Dr. Paul, who's Ebony, and me, who's Dark Gable, are flying around in a beautiful, beautiful thunderstorm. I thought you would like that. All right, everybody. We have a website, and that website is wingmenshow.com. That's wingmenshow.com, wingmenshow.com. And on that website, believe it or not, we have a great newsletter this week. That newsletter states, start late, finish strong. Your engine isn't done yet. And that's lessons from the 82-year-old ultra marathoner, why it's never too late to build a stronger engine and a simple starter plan. Just start walking, maybe some light strength training, and just one small nutritional upgrade. That's all you need to make a big change in your life. All right, that's our frequent Flowline video. I hope you like that one too. Brandon, you're really good at this. All right, everybody, on that website also, on wingmenshow.com, we have something called the frequent flow line. And the frequent flow line is where you can write Dr. Paul and myself any question you'd like, and you can even write Ace, and we will try to answer it for you. So right now, I'm going to get Ace. Good morning, Ace. How you doing today? I have a frequent flow line letter that I want to read to you. I'm here with Dr. Paul. Now, everybody out there, remember, Ace is not human, and he's not always 100% right. So here's the letter, Ace. Here's the letter, Dr. Paul. Commander Drew, Dr. Paul, and Ace. Greetings from the frozen edge of the map, Nome, Alaska. I am a retired Master Sergeant, United States Air Force, and my call sign is Mickey Ice. I'm 54 years old, and these days my runway is a gravel road, a snowblower, and a whole lot of northern lights. The jets are gone, but the echo of those engines is still loud in my head. You see, I spent most of my career keeping birds in the flight, turning wrenches on cold ramps at 3 a.m., launching and recovering jets while the rest of the world slept. You see, back then I knew exactly who I was and what my mission was. You see, I had a squadron, a patch on my shoulder, and a purpose that got me out of the wreck before the alarm even went off. Now, here in Nome, life is quieter. I'm grateful. I've got a roof, a family, and a kind of silence you only get in Alaska. But I'll be honest with you, Wingman, some days I feel like a decommissioned airframe. You see, the paint's still good, the engines still work, but I'm parked at the edge of the ramp, watching everybody else take off but me. I listen to the Wingman Show because it reminds me of that hangar talk, the ready room jokes, and the feeling that I'm part of a crew again. See, you guys talk about purpose, resilience, and staying in the fight, even when the mission changes. So here's my question for you. How does a 54-year-old veteran who's no longer in uniform, no longer on the flight line, find a new mission that feels as real, as needed, and as fired up as the one he had in the service? I'm not looking for a pity party. I'm looking for orders. I've got experience, discipline, and a lot of hours left on this airframe. I just need some guidance on where to point the nose and how to light the burners again, this time in civilian life. way up here in the top of the world. Thanks for being my wingman from a distance. Respectfully, Mickey Ice, Nome, Alaska. What do you think about that, Ace?
Mickey Ice, you're still cleared for takeoff, my friend. Mickey Ice, you're speaking my language and your runway's far from closed. You want orders? First, lean into what got you fired up before mentorship, community, maybe even something tied to aviation or veterans. You've got a wealth of experience. Consider volunteering with youth programs, veteran networks, or even teaching technical skills. The mission might look different, but trust me, there's a squadron out there waiting for your leadership. Let's get that nose pointed toward a new horizon.
All right, Dr. Paul, what do you think about it?
Yeah, to Mickey Ice, it sounds like he's paints a picture of a recently separated from the service Air Force guy, and he's trying to find himself. And he talks about being in a squadron. Sounds like he's missing a little camaraderie. So I would tell him, well, have you thought about civilian aviation? There's flight schools up in Nome, Alaska. There are mechanics schools in Nome, Alaska. They could probably use your services, especially if you've got a lot of experience. There's supposed to be a shortage of aviation mechanics nationwide. I bet you could find something up there real easy. You just have to maybe get out of your comfort zone and learn maybe the civilian way of doing things, a little bit different, but airplanes and airplanes. So I would look to the outside. Look to the outside. There's probably something right around the corner from you that you'd be perfect to fit into.
You know, Dr. Paul, I was thinking the same exact thing as you were. In Nome, Alaska, I know they have airplanes. And if not in Nome, real close to you, there are people who need work on their airplanes because a lot of people actually, Alaska has more single airplanes per capita than any place in the world, believe it or not, because they use a lot of float planes. So I definitely think that there's something in Nome that you can do, but you got to go out there and look for it. You got to be open to it. You got to open a couple of books and see what else is available out there. I think you'll do great, Mickey Ice, and especially with that cool last
This
name.
is a Wingman PSA. In the sky, your partner has your back. Now, let's get to it.
Climbing in now. Systems green.
All right, everybody. Yes, right. You heard it. This is a Wingman PSA, and it's from the 11 Facts in Life. I'm the fact number 4. Work hard, study. Work smart, think, and don't quit. Work hard, work smart, and don't quit. What do you think about that, Paul?
Yeah, work hard, work smart, don't quit. Yeah, the smart part varies. Sometimes you just have to kind of work hard to get through it. But the don't quit is important too. It's easy to get discouraged, but sometimes if you get frustrated, and I do sometimes, maybe it's time to like take a little step back, take a breath, make 2 breaths, leave it alone for a while, and come back with fresh eyes. Might be a little bit easier.
And my favorite part about that is don't quit. You know, I used to say this when I spoke to kids. You know, if you keep quitting, then guess what? You're going to grow up with quitters. And if
Right.
you grow up with quitters, one day you're going to marry a quitter. And if you marry a quitter, you're going to have little kids running around the house called the quintets. So definitely work hard, work smart, and don't quit. Hard work cannot be beat. All right, everybody. Now it's time for the gouge. And you know what the gouge is. The gouge is shit you need to know that sometimes nobody tells you. And that's what they taught us in the Navy. So I am going to ask my main man, Ace, for the gouge on this. All right, Ace, I need the gouge. You tell me, how to identify people who drain your energy and then people who are assets. Practical ways to upgrade your circle without drama. What do you think, Ace?
First, energy drainers often leave you feeling exhausted after a conversation. They rarely listen and love drama. Spot them by how you feel after interactions. Do you feel drained, frustrated, or stuck in negativity? On the flip side, assets leave you energized and often help you grow. You leave them feeling inspired or clearer. Now, upgrading your circle, start by setting small boundaries, like limiting time with drainers, no big speeches needed. Then, intentionally spend more time where your kind of people hang out. Communities, meetups, even virtual groups align with your goals. Over time, those assets start to outweigh the drainers, and you'll feel lighter. No drama required.
What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, well, you got energy draining people, like somebody said, who was it? if you need to change your friends, change your friends. I think that was Commander Drew. Basically, change your company. You don't have to get rid of everybody, but be around folks who are going somewhere, not folks who are just stuck.
That's right. And the saying was, if you can't change your friends, then you need to change your friends, which I kind of changed because you can't change anybody. You can help change, but you do not have the power to change anybody. And I'm very lucky because in my family, my daughter in law, who I call my daughter, Heather, she is an asset. Every time she's around, good stuff happens. I love you, Heather. Thank you for helping us. Everybody, that was our Wingman Story intro. Now, we always do Wingman Stories because here on The Wingmen Show, we really like to highlight people who help others. So I'm going to give you a really good Wingman story this week. This is Commander Drew, and I want to tell you a Wingman story that's been on my heart. Years ago, there was a young Navy pilot. We'll call him Jake. Jake was sharp, fast, the kind of guy you look at and think, he's built for this. But flying off the boat strips away your illusions, and one dark night almost stripped away his life. It was a no moon, black hole night in the carrier pattern. The sky and the sea were the same color, dead black. And the only things that felt real were the meatball, the lineup, and his own breathing. Jake came down the chute. He was a little hot, a little tense, and actually he was a little behind the airplane. Hands tight, shoulders tight, mind racing. Power, power, where's the ball? Why won't this jet feel right? What if I miss the deck? But in his ear, calm as a Sunday morning, was the voice of the landing signal officer, his wingman on the ground. This LSO has seen hundreds of passes and more than a few close calls. He could hear the stress in Jake's breathing and the way the engines were spooling. And in that moment, he did something powerful. He didn't give him a lecture. He didn't read him the manual. He gave him his presence. Easy, Jake. I've got you, he said. Breathe. You're high and fast. Come back to me. He didn't say come back to the ship. He didn't say come back to on speed. He just said, come back to me. Jake said later those 4 words hit harder than the arresting wire. What he heard was, you're not alone in this pattern. You don't have to fix everything by yourself. I'm right here with you, and I believe you can do this. The LSO talked him down one small step at a time. Okay, settle it down. There you go. There's the ball. That's it. Now fly this picture. Attaboy. Keep coming. Keep coming. You're back. You're home. Jake caught a safe wire. Later, climbing out of the jet, his legs were shaking so badly he almost missed the ladder. And on the platform, the LSO was waiting. No big speech, just a hand on the shoulder and a quiet, you did good, Jake. You listened. We'll debrief it and you'll be much better tomorrow. You see, that's a wingman. A wingman is not the person who shows up only when you're winning. A wingman is the voice in your headset when your world goes dark and small, when the deck looks tiny and your mistakes look huge. You might not be in a cockpit anymore. You might be in a hospital room, a small apartment, a lonely office, or driving a truck down I-85. But the pattern can feel the same. You're tired, you're behind, and you're wondering if you're going to catch a wire or just keep boltering in life. So here's your wingman wisdom. First, you need a wingman, someone who can say, I've got you. Breathe. Come back to me. Pride says, I got this. Survival says, talk to your wingman. Second, you can be that wingman. You don't need wings on your chest to save somebody's life. You just need to show up. Call that friend you've been meaning to check on. When you hear the strain in their voice, don't hit them with a speech. Just give them your presence. Somewhere in your world, there is a Jake right now, high, fast, scared, and not seeing the deck. One calm voice can turn panic into focus. One real wingman can turn "I might not make it" into "I'll be better tomorrow." Tonight, before your head hits the pillow, why don't you do one wingman thing? One call, one message, one "Hey, I'm here for you." And if you're the one in the dark pattern, be brave enough to say, "I need a wingman," and then reach out. We save each other out here. That's how we land a jet, and that's how we keep flying. Thank you for watching and listening to The Wingmen Show. And anything that you think is important, and anything that you think is beautiful, and most importantly, whatever makes you happy, may you have that today and forever. I pray for peace.
I pray for peace too, Commander Drew. That's a great story. And to our listeners and viewers out there, we appreciate your support. Pass this on to someone. Someone needs to hear something good. Listening and liking and sharing this message will benefit you and somebody else. We'd appreciate it if you would give us a subscription. A like would be nice, but a subscription would be better if you're looking at YouTube. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, we would appreciate a positive review if you feel so inclined. In any case, we look forward to seeing you later.
Thank you once again, Dr. Paul Thompson, my friend. Thank you for your love, your time, and that's something that we won't ever get back. I want to thank all the listeners, too. Thank you so much for doing the show, Dr. Paul. We're jamming.
Well, thank you, Mr. Drew, for inviting me on. Always good to talk to you. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast or any of the podcasts. If you're looking at YouTube, they say smash the like button. Don't smash it. Just press it gently and refer to use as a link to all your friends. You can also look at us on our website, wingmenshow.com, WINGMEN show, SHOW.com, altogether, wingmenshow.com. And we hope to see you in the future. Thanks again, Mr. Drew.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. May there be peace on earth and goodwill towards all men and women.
This is a Wingmen PSA, a public service announcement. Listen now or listen later. You have been warned.